Society Matters.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to another installment of Legacy Chronicles, honoring the past, preserving the future. And I am Donna Rosenblum, your host, Director of Education here at the Holocaust Memorial and Tolerance Center. And I'm here with a second-generation survivor, Sharon Feder, who is going to give us some wonderful insights. So, Sharon, thank you so much for being with us today.
Thank you for inviting me, Donna.
You are very welcome. So first we're going to start off by asking you to give me a brief kind of background of your parents' story, particularly your mom's story.
So my mom was a survivor of Auschwitz. Actually, she was deported. Her town was deported in 1944. The Hungarian Jews, I think, were the last to be deported.
Yes.
So up until that time, she was living basically with her family, a young girl, 14, the oldest of 6 children, in a small town in the Carpathian Mountains. I would say about maybe 25 to 30% Jewish.
Mm-hmm.
Middle class. Her dad had a small fabric store, fabric and buttons, and a lot of people sewed their own clothes then from a pattern. So he had a nice business. They lived in a comfortable, small home, and her mother was basically a housewife. And I guess if she was the oldest of 6 and she was 14, it was quite busy.
Mm-hmm.
When the government changed and the Hungarians became more influenced by the Nazi government,
Mm-hmm.
things started to change, gradually at first, but more and more my mother became aware of changes in her daily life. Of course, the Yellow Star. But I think what affected her the most, the biggest loss, was that she couldn't continue in school. She was called to the front of the class one day with some other little classmates. She was in 6th grade.
Mm-hmm.
And the teacher, who she was on good terms with because she loved class and she loved learning, said, you are Jewish kids and you can't come to school anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that was a really big blow to her. Little by little, there were starting to be deprivations. There were certain places in the parks they couldn't go to.
Mm-hmm. Right, and what had happened, and again, just for our audience, what had happened for years in Nazi Germany from 33 to 38, 39, before the war, in Hungary happened within 3 months. You know, basically,
and was a big shock.
Right, the Horthy government fell in March of 44. The SS marched in under Eichmann. You had the Arrow Cross taking over, and deportations of Jews began by May, June. They started, depending upon where in Hungary you were situated. So it was a
big shock.
It was a quick change. But so that the audience understands the time frame.
Right,
Mm-hmm.
that's true, and I don't know how much you're aware of when you're 14.
Right,
as long as your little life goes on.
Right.
Right, I'm just thinking
and
now.
And I'm sure, her parents tried to shelter her and protect her and do everything so that she didn't really know what was happening around in the world.
So her father was taken to forced labor.
Mm-hmm.
She remembers one of the Jewish holidays. Her mom saying, well, you take care of your brothers and sisters, and I'm going to bring some food to your father, mm-hmm. because they were strictly kosher, and I don't know what he was getting to eat. So she brought him food, and I remember my mother telling this to me, and I was, how could you be in charge of your brothers and sisters over a holiday? She said, I didn't think about it. I just did it.
Right.
And I was amazed, really, at the things that suddenly propel you into adulthood. There was a notice put up that all Jews would have to assemble in the town square. And this was, I believe, after Passover of 1944.
Right.
Of course, there were a lot of rumors flying around. People had relatives in Poland, all kinds of things. And her parents tried not to pass that on to the kids. And as you said, Donna, they wanted to shield them. But more importantly, I think there's a desire not to believe it yourself.
Right.
Because it's unbelievable.
Right. It is. It is.
What do you mean? They're going to relocate us. We're going to work. If we can work, we'll be okay.
Exactly.
So the notice said, pack one small bundle and don't bring anything else, and come to the town square. All the European villages were kind of built in a similar way, which they did. And there were trains there, cattle cars, used for deporting animals, horses, cows, and they were pushed into this no ventilation cattle car. Like old, sick, pregnant, children, doesn't matter.
Right.
No difference. No place to sit, one little window in the corner, no bathroom to speak of.
No bathroom, no water, no privacy. Yeah.
A bucket. And where are you going? You're going to go to a work camp. When you get there, you'll have a chance to get clean, and we'll get you food, just to keep everyone calm. So they were shoved into this cattle car, and I would say by then the adults knew what was up, trying to keep it from the little children. There was crying, screaming, praying. One older lady, I think my mother said one of her neighbors basically passed away where she stood because she couldn't take it. And my mother and her siblings were rammed together in the corner, and my mother's memory, which she told us later, was of her father praying the whole time, repeating prayers and saying, God, please don't let us disappear entirely from the earth. At least give me one to survive, over and over and over again. So, of course, as everyone knows, where the trains were heading, the Hungarian Jews ended up within 2 days being all deported to the death camps, to Auschwitz. And they pulled in. My mother remembers seeing the sky smoky red and naively thinking, what kind of factory is this? The chimneys are just going nonstop, and it's like it's the middle of the night. It's 4 a.m, and they're still working, and a peculiar odor in the air. Sadly, we all know what it was, and it's hard for the human mind to comprehend this.
Of course.
So there was the selection. My mother was separated from her siblings. That was the last time she saw anyone since they were younger. They were of no use to the Nazis in terms of being able to work. My mother was saved because she was put to work. She found out later on that they were all gassed that day. Basically, my mother was in Auschwitz for, I guess, 9 months or so, 10 months, a little shy of a year, when they started to hear rumblings that the Russians were closing in. And people were saying, the Nazis are losing, things are going to happen soon. And she remembers seeing that more and more there would be some guards missing, less of a detail of guards. and a lot of rumors swirling around. One day she woke up and there was orders that anyone who could walk, take your things. Your things were like a wooden bowl.
Right.
She had a kerchief on her head. I think she weighed maybe 76, 78 pounds at the time, and she was about 15 and a half. And let's go.
Right. So she went on a death march.
That was the infamous death march.
And where did she wind up?
She wound up in a step-down camp, really, which was a deserted cement factory, because this was in between the Russians advancing, and the Nazis still did not want to let the Jewish prisoners go, perhaps thinking they could be used as
bargaining.
Bargaining. I don't know what, I can't imagine what their thoughts were, or maybe they were still being propelled by hate, even though they were clearly losing. And they were kept in this loosely guarded camp. She was with women, and then one day they woke up, none of the guards were there, and another woman said to her, what are we going to, I think it's over, what are we going to do? Some soldiers burst in, they were Russian soldiers, and one Russian soldier said to them, they were able to understand, it was a mixture of Yiddish, and they said, are you Jewish? And the women said yes, and he said, I'm Jewish too. And he said, take my horse and take this wagon and stay off the main roads and get out of here. And basically, if you want to talk about a moment of liberation, I would say that would mark the beginning of so-called being free.
Right.
Trying to figure out, now what do I do?
Right, right.
And the story is probably the standard, unfortunate, sad story of people trying to piece together what was left. There was nothing left.
Right.
There were people who she thought were her friends, neighbors in her house, pushing her out and telling her, no, there's nothing here for you.
Right.
My mother wanted to look for something and
some mementos.
took her by the collar and threw her out.
Right.
My mom ended up in a DP camp in Austria, and there was no WhatsApp groups at that point.
Right.
Everything was telegrams and regular mail.
And somehow she makes her way to the U.S.
And she makes her way to the U.S. at about 18 years old.
With nobody.
Nobody, no money, nothing. An uncle in Delaware found her. And at that point, you had to be sponsored with an affidavit and with a guarantee that you would not be a burden. He set her up in Brooklyn. I believe it was Williamsburg. That was where a lot of the Jewish refugees were clustered together. Found her a little job in a delicatessen because she could cook. And that is where she met my father, who was an American college boy. Brooklyn college boy. Very, classical, baseball, beach,
Right.
fireworks.
Right. Different life.
Hot dogs, everything. And she wanted that.
Right. Of course.
So
She wanted to rebuild.
we always said we came from a mixed marriage, meaning a Hungarian, as we called them, a greener. They were called greeners. And my father, who was American.
It was American. So let me just ask, at what point growing up in your home did you understand that your mother was very different from the other mothers in the neighborhood, or did you not? Did your mother have a survivor community or did she really immerse herself in your father's world and not have that connection to Europe?
That's a great question. My father's family were not very welcoming. I guess in the pecking order, they felt that my father had married, how shall I say this, down. Not college educated, not
Wasn't
his
bringing
sisters.
didn't bring anything to
Right,
the
no dowry, no property,
Right.
no lineage, and
Yeah.
This is who you married?
Right.
She speaks English with an accent.
Right.
They were less than thrilled. My mother, we spent most of our time with whoever was left from my mother's side, which I guess ordinarily you would have very little to do with cousins, but this was our family.
Right.
My mother did not talk about it. We knew that something had happened. She had a number on her arm, A6171. My sisters and I wear it on this gold disc that we had made after my mother passed away about 2.5 years ago. A6171, we saw it all the time. If we said, "What is that? Mommy, how did you get it?" Bad people put it there. And that was really the standard answer to most things. Why don't I have a grandma and grandpa, or Zadie and Booby, as it was called then? Bad people killed them. She didn't want to talk about it.
Did she ever talk about it at the end?
She started talking about it when, for me, it was when I was reading the book Night.
Okay.
When we were assigned the book Night.
In school?
Yes, I guess now it would be The Boy in the Striped Pajamas.
Yeah, we don't, yeah, okay.
It's
yeah. That's okay.
But different reading materials.
Yes, right.
But we had to read Night, and I remember being in 7th grade, sitting in my room and sobbing. It was 11 o'clock. My mother comes in, the day to knock, or there's no privacy. You fling the door open, and she picks up the book, she turns it over, looks at the back. She says, I go, what? She goes, this is my story. Like if you would say, I'm turning the thermostat up.
Right.
Like with the exact, Mommy, we'll talk about it another time. And that was the first inkling I had that there was a lot there. That there was a big elephant under that rug that she didn't want me to pull the rug back. As time passed, and I think she felt more and more secure when she started having grandchildren, Donna. That tension eased up, that nothing was going to shake her life anymore. And she started realizing, here's my life, here's my family, here's safety, I'm safe. I'm a grandmother.
Right. Maybe she allowed herself to truly live and love again.
Exactly.
Right,
My father started saying, you owe it to your children and your grandchildren as they get older to tell your story.
Right.
She didn't want to.
Right.
My father contacted the Spielberg Foundation that was obviously funded by Steven Spielberg after Schindler's List to preserve the testimony of survivors. And I was actually in my office one morning. I was in my 40s, and I had a full day. My father called me. He said, can you come? Oh, what are you talking about? I'm in the city. Can you get a train and come out? You have a chance to hear your mother's story. And I came out to the house, and there was a psychologist there, a film crew, and I sat off camera in the kitchen, and I heard my mother's whole story. That was the first time.
Wow.
The only way I got through it was to pretend I was watching a PBS documentary. I remember sitting with my classic yellow pad, which I always had in front of me to take notes, and a pen, and all of a sudden, all the pieces of my life fell into place.
Right.
Why didn't you ever tell me you loved me? Why didn't you ever tell me you were proud of me? She said it. She said it point blank. Anything that I loved in my life was taken away from me. So I was never gonna show that again. I was never gonna do that again. Anything good was taken away from me.
Right. She built a huge defense mechanism to protect herself.
So
Yeah. And you can't blame her.
That's how we were shielded. She was not a war mother. She didn't play with us. I was angry about that for a long time until I realized she didn't know how to play.
Right.
If she was 14 when she was taken and making holiday for her family because her father was in prison. She
Right.
wasn't fooling around and playing hopscotch outside.
Right.
So a lot of the answers to what was going on in my childhood were explained to me just by listening to her. And that was a big turning point for me. Like I let go a lot of the resentment that I had from my mom being different.
Right.
Because now I understood.
Right. So now, with all of that, let's talk about you here, right? So instead of being angry and bitter, and instead of saying, I didn't have all of these things that other friends have growing up, the type of family, you're volunteering your time and you're telling your mother's story here at hmTV. So tell us why you're doing this, Sharon.
It was Viktor Frankl's book that made a big difference in my life. For those who haven't read it, please read it.
Yeah, Man's Search for Meaning.
I would say I reread it once a year. And the line that lives in my head is, those that have a why to live can bear anyhow. And that's my mother. My mother had a why to live, to survive, and she could endure the camps and get through it. And I think that lesson, that you cannot choose what happens, but you can choose what you take away from it and your attitude in life and meaning.
Right.
Being here is meaning. Being that I'm here and speaking is meaning.
Right.
Is being able to impact students, perhaps make them feel differently about suffering that they're going through.
Exactly.
That
And what about for you? Do you feel that it's a sense of healing and therapy for you? I know many 2Gs do feel that way. They feel that there's a purpose. They feel that, that it just gets them through the day.
I feel that I did a lot of my healing together with my mother. My father, unfortunately, died many years before her. He was in his 70s. And it was a big shock to us because we thought that being that she was deprived of nutrition and had arthritis, but no, she lived into her 90s. So she became a snowbird, and any time that I had off, I would go visit her, me and her. And we did a lot of just fun things, but a lot of talking. And what she said to me, "My darling, I am the luckiest woman alive." I was like, "Mommy, you're saying that?"
Right.
She says, "God doesn't owe me anything. Look at me. Look. I had a great husband. I had a wonderful marriage, children who are all successful and professional. They come visit me, grandchildren that call me every Friday. I am the luckiest woman alive." And it was such a lesson to me that this woman really embodies that line from the Viktor Frankl book.
Right.
She chose her attitude.
That's right.
She found meaning. She found purpose. She didn't dwell on the suffering.
Right. And she wasn't angry and bitter, and she didn't, she didn't take that and place it on anybody else. And I think that, again, one of the things that I see here at hmTV is our survivor community and our second generation community are just such wonderful people that they all have such a I don't want to say positive outlook, but they have a mission of wanting people to respect and love one another. And that's what they say every single day. And it's amazing, based on what they all went through and what they experienced, that's the message. Because it could be a very different message, right?
It could be, but
it's not.
My mother's was, kindness should be your first choice.
Right. And I think that's very remarkable.
But
and
amazing.
I want to stress here, give me a hand for a second. I want to stress how remarkable that is, because I don't think that the world gets it.
No.
I don't think the world gets it. And I think it's a disservice that the world doesn't understand that our survivors and our second generation survivors are the people that are putting out that olive branch and are talking about all of these ways to live your life.
The life lesson is there if you choose to accept it.
Exactly.
And that's why I come here.
That's right.
Because you have 6th graders, 7th graders, 8th graders. They're forming their opinion. They're forming their values.
Right.
And if I could even impact one,
exactly,
then I did a really meaningful thing that day.
You did. And you do, and that is the mission. We want kids to understand that if survivors and second generation can be the way that they are, then they can too. Because no matter what life throws at you, you have to be able to be a good person, regardless. And that's the message. So I want to thank you so much, Sharon, for being with us. Thank you for sharing your mom's story and for bearing your soul, because that's what you do.
Yes.
And I know it's hard. And I
but
understand, but important to work. And I want our audience out there to understand that we don't take this lightly, and that we will continue to bring Legacy Chronicles and this mission to the world, because it's an important lesson.
Yes,
that must not be forgotten.
This is the impact we can have, and this is the meaningful work we can do.
Exactly.
So we're going to do it.
That's right. Thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you for having me, Donna.
Oh, you're very welcome. Everybody out there, please like, subscribe, share, and take these lessons to heart, because they are the most important things in the world. Thank you very much. Have a great day.